So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can convert your Fujinon MK lenses to RED DSMC using our Cinelux adapter. So this conversion kit works on DSMC1 and DSMC2 cameras. The process we're going to be going through is on the 50 to 135. It's identical on the 18 to 55. The only difference with the setup on this lens is that we also install an extra light baffle. But it should take about 5-10 minutes and it's pretty quick to do. So in terms of like workstation prep, you just want a clean flat surface so you can put your lens with the front element facing down onto a flat surface so you can work on the back of the lens. So the first tool you're going to need from the kit is the little Phillips crosshead screwdriver, and we're going to be removing the 4 Phillips screws from the back of the lens. That's it, and they're not in too tight. And there's just a knurled grip on this screwdriver, so you can take them out quite easily. And because there's the back of the lens optic, you always just want to be quite careful and just take a bit of time with it. But these are quite simple to take off. So now all your screws are loose. The easiest thing to do is actually just to tip the lens over. And then I'm going to slide, they should, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 screws there. And then this one just needs a tiny bit more screwing. Should. So I'm just going to take that one out by hand. So there's 4 screws there. We don't need them for the rest of the conversion, but they're worth keeping. Like with all these parts, it's worth keeping them safe. So the next thing you want to do is take off this metal lens mount. So, it can be a little bit fiddly, but if you get your fingers below, your fingernails below, and slowly, if I rotate the lens, slowly just work this up. And it's not in too tight, this won't be in too tight at all, but it's worth just kind of slowly going around. There you go, that came out really easily. Yeah, and that's it. You can actually see this is the mount here, and it has a baffle built in. So that's why we add the extra baffle to this one, just to maintain the same kind of optical performance. So I'm going to put that to one side as well. So the next part, there are 3 screws around the edge of this green cowl. So yeah, you can see there's one there, and then one right at the bottom of the lens here. So you can see here there's a screw, and there's also a blank hole, and there are multiple blank holes around the mount. You can just ignore these, there's no screws in those. It's just the 3 Phillips screws that have to come out. So I'll start with this one. It's a little bit easier on the side. So again, we're just going to pull these out with our fingers, put these here. It's not a magnetic screwdriver, so you do have to be careful about the screw removal, but it is quite straightforward. So I'm going to place this back down. So now the 3 screws are out, this plastic cowl should come off. That's it. So that's all the components you need to have removed from the mount removed, and we can actually start to build up our mount and assemble it onto the camera. Something else I wanted to quickly mention is that some of these lenses have a plastic kind of shim in them, and they'll look a bit like this. Not all the lenses are going to have them. This is just if the factory required extra calibration to the lens, they'll have these plastic shims in. These also aren't needed, but are worth keeping just in case you ever return it back to factory. So now the Sony E-mount is off the Fujinon lens, you're ready to install your Cinelux DSMC to Fujinon MK adapter. There is one extra step, which I'm going to cover right now if you're using the 50 to 135 lens. That's not needed on the 18 to 55, so skip to the timecode on screen now if you're using the 18 to 55 lens. If not, keep on watching and I'll show you how to install the rear light baffle. So the first thing I'm going to do is use the second part of our kit. So I'm going to move the lens to one side. This is a body and mount caps kit. So that's for the front. That's just for the front of your camera. If you ever want to just cover the sensor but not have a lens on it. And the back is, we'll put that here. That's actually the rear lens cap for this setup. So I'll put that over here as well. We're going to take out our Cinelux mount here. So place your mount onto the rear lens cap, and that way it's just like a base to work off. We're then going to want to install the baffle. So it's this part in the kit here. I'm actually going to take these out first and then pull it up at an angle. This is your baffle here. Grab that. It can actually go on. Well, there's only one kind of logical way it goes on, which is like this. I mean, technically you could mount it at weird angles, but this is the correct way. So you can see your Cinelux in the top left corner, and you've just got your kind of 21:9 sort of aspect ratio baffle here. So you'll need 3 screws. So there are 3 bags of screws in the kit. The one you'll need is this one I have in the middle here, which is the 3 equal length screws. This one has 8 small screws in. This also has, this bag here has 3 screws in, but it has 1 long screw. So that one's not needed. The 8 small screws aren't needed. It's just the 3 5mm long screws, even though it can be a bit hard to tell. But yeah, just the 3 screws of equal length. So I'll take those out. Yeah, and then we'll just want to put these where we've aligned the baffle. There's just 3 screw holes. See there. Again, just get it so it's just ever so slightly tight, but not overly tight, not like full tightness. And we'll just do that on all corners. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, and just the last screw at the bottom of the mount here. Cool. So we've got those 3 screws in the baffle. I've only tightened them up lightly, so I'm just going to quickly nip them up now. And just so you can just so you just feel they're tight, they don't have to be stupidly tight, just until you kind of feel a small amount of pressure, like feedback. That's perfect. And that's it. So if you've got the 18 to 55 kit, you won't have a baffle on your mount, but everything will be exactly the same. So I'm going to place the lens down here and take it off our platform. So what you want to do is find, so you see I've got the Fujinon branding on the side there. So I'm going to have that to the left of me here. Take your mount. You've got your Cinelux on the top here, bottom of that here. You're going to want to flip it over and down. Then, actually that was perfect. You can see that is perfectly aligned. So all the screw holes here align perfectly to the mount. And you know that is 100% straight and accurate. And it'll have the correct orientation of the lens when you eventually get it onto the camera. So the next parts you'll need, there are 2 small kind of bags of screws. One has a very long screw in it with two smaller screws, and the other bag has 8 small screws. So for this section, we're going to want, to begin with, this bag, the one with the long screws and the 2 small screws. So we're going to take that out. And actually, the easiest way to start is to take the long screw, and actually I'm going to rotate this slightly. So the long screw goes in the base of the lens down here. So when you're screwing this in, you just want to put a bit of pressure onto the back of the lens, place that through, there we go. And then again, we're just going to put it in until it's lightly tight. That's perfect. And then for the other 2 screws, now this, I'm going to show it on the top camera here. These screws actually go into the side of the mount. So on both sides, there are holes cut into the mount, and you actually have to put the screws in. So that's what I'm going to do first, is we're going to take our screw, so the thread facing down, and literally just drop it in. And then we're going to take our, see if I can get this right, take our screwdriver, place that in, and you can feel that it's threading in. So it does tend to kind of locate itself. So that one's in, I've just lightly tightened it up. I'm going to do the same on the other side. So let me just get that there. Do it that way. That, just until it's kind of finger tight. Perfect. Then the next ones to put on are the 8 screws on the back of the lens. So again, it's all really straightforward, but just, especially with these ones, you just want to take your time because you don't want any dropping onto the rear kind of optic. And let's start on this bottom corner. Again, just slowly tighten that one up. And we'll do it in a star pattern. So, just going across. And that way everything kind of evens out as you're tightening it all up. Last one. So now that one's tight. So again, so I can do that full tightness again, just until it feels like it's kind of biting, has got a strong grip. These do not need to be over tightened at all. And again, now those are on, we'll just do the ones around the edge. That's good. And again, this is exactly the same across the 2 mounts. You can see that one wants to go just a tiny bit more. But yeah, absolutely identical across the 2. But that one feels spot on. Yeah, and that's the core. That's the core of it done there. So now from the kit, we just have the 4 thumb screws. So I'm going to take these out. They come out really easily. Now, that kit is done. And then what you want to do is just thread these in. So these are held captive in the mount, and they should thread in really easy. It'll just feel, there shouldn't be too much kind of resistance. They'll just go in, and then that's it. Once they can be pushed in like that and held captive, that's it done. So I'll do it for the other ones. You can feel, you don't want it to cross thread. But this, again, this is just something you just do once. There you go, that's it. Nice. So all these thumb screws, they're held in captive. So once you've done that once, it's done. That's you never need to kind of readdress those again. So now that's all done, you're ready to mount it onto your DSMC1 or DSMC2 camera. So the first thing you're going to want to do, put this to one side, is remove the lens mount that's currently on it. So RED cameras tend to just come with EF and PL mount pretty much by default. You also get Nikon mounts and kind of other variations. But most of them, and actually all of the RED mounts, are mounted via T20 Torx. So I'm actually going to flip this on its back. We've got the knurled thumb screws, so these are like an upgrade to these mounts, and they're the same thumb screws we used on the Fujinon kit. But yours most likely won't have these, so you just have to use a T20 Torx. You can get these pretty much anywhere. And all DSMC1 and 2 cameras came with this type of T20 Torx screw. So you may also have it in your RED camera kit. So I'm just going to put that in. You can just, yeah, you just loosen them off. So. But because ours are the thumb screws, the upgraded thumb screw ones, we don't actually have to use the T20 Torx for our ones. And these are available to buy on cinelux.co.uk. So No, those are all loose. Pull them out tight. So I can take this mount off. So I'm going to put that there. And actually, I'll leave it on its back so you can see it a bit clearly. Take our lens, place it directly on top. Can't really see it on the top shot, but see on the side shot. So yeah, and then just same as what we just did then. Just tighten these thumb screws up, and that's it. Just make sure they're kind of nicely tight, and that's it on your camera. It's a really neat setup. Yeah, and everything works. You still have access to your macro, so that you still have a really nice motion on that, and everything works exactly as you'd expect. There is one thing you will need to do though, which is a lens calibration. So because these lenses are calibrated from factory, it means their back focus will be calibrated. So actually I may turn this upside down, which looks a bit weird, but that's where our back focus is. So what you want to do is, you see the nilled thumb screw on the back of the lens here. If you move this back and forth, that is your back focus calibration. So we've linked to a really good video Fujinon did about calibrating your lenses, and it is really straightforward. They use a calibration guide, but you can use infinity, you can use any object. It just has to be measured to a specific distance that matches the distance on the lens. And this is kind of something you really only have to do once, unless you're going from very hot to very cold climate changes. So if you're traveling a lot with the camera, you probably just want to calibrate it. And again, once you know what you're doing, it only takes about a minute or 2 minutes to calibrate this properly. So the link to that calibration video is in the description. So we've quickly swapped cameras, as I had to take the lens off the other RED camera that was filming us before, just to show you how easy it is to swap over lenses when you have two kits on two different lenses. So I'll quickly show you now. So all you have to do, completely toolless, loosen these off, get them, make sure they're all loose. That's it. I'm going to take off the body cap of that one. One done, nice and easy. And then all you'd need to do, in the field and you're actually shooting, just want to tighten these up. Cool, that one's ready to go in your kit bag, and this one's ready to start shooting with. So yeah, it's a bit slower than a normal lens swap, but it's still not too slow. Took about a minute to kind of swap the two over. Yeah, and these are just really great lenses, well worth the extra time it takes to swap lenses, as they really do work incredibly well on these cameras. And yeah, we just love shooting with them.